Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all keeping well. What we'll do today, well, first off, bring Mark in. I've only got Mark in today.
Howdy.
The rest of the usual earworms are working. So Mark's in. He'll be keeping us up to date with the chat. I'll stick you back in the background, Mark. And for any Scottish people who were in today, happy St Andrew's Day. That's what it is today. What we're doing, right, let's have a bit of a look. I've got a piece of spalted beech on the lathe today. It's just 4 3/4 long and it's 5 1/4 wide. I'm just going to have a bit mess about, a bit play about, and see what we'll come up with. But first off, I'll get it down into the round, and then we can decide what we're going to be doing with it once I get it there. Let's see what sort of speed we're going to be turning at. That's about 1350. Now, Mark was saying before we started that when he first came in, the picture quality wasn't that good. If the picture quality continues to be not that good, I may well knock it on the head. Because there's nothing worse trying to watch somebody and you can't see what the bloody hell they're doing. But we'll see how it goes. If the internet goes off, just assume I'm not coming back on, because I'm not going to mess about with the internet either. The weather's not that hot today, so the internet may well get knocked out, but you can never tell. Right then.
Okay, I'll start telling you who's in.
Grand.
No particular order, although I do think Colin was first. Wood Wizardry by Colin, Tommy's Workshop, Terry Bray from TJ Turning, Robert Dolman, Richard RJK Spinning Wood, Pete Twisted Trees, Paul Lockwood, Patrick Hanley, Mark Pritchard, Leroy 500, John Hayes, Jennifer Stroughton, Ian Leonard, Hodgepodge Woodworks, Duncan the Demon Barber, David Miller, Guy Prout, Chris Charlton, Rickard Craftwork, Brent Beecroft and Alex Lambie.
Grand, thanks for coming along, everybody.
If I've missed anybody, shout out. Well, I know I have Keith Wright, Rickard's Craftworks, Steve Ellis, Tommy's Workshop,
Yeah, some parts of this is quite punky, so I've already sharpened my tools, but we'll see how it goes. It looks like it's got some nice spalt in here.
Question from John Hayes.
Yeah.
What materials have you turned other than wood?
What materials have I turned other than wood? I've turned a bit of aluminium. I've turned a bit of brass. I have done resin. Both acrylic and polyester. But not a hell of a lot of resin turning, I've got to say. I have had a very small go at doing some metal work, proper metal work on a metal lathe when I was down at Glyn's during the summer.
Henry Morgan's just joined. Hi, Henry. Welcome along. Karen Dolman's in.
Hey, Karen.
Paul Smith's in.
Hi, Paul. I know he's probably heard it a million times before, but whenever I hear Henry's name mentioned, I always fancy having a drink.
As always, people, if you've got a question for Wayne, could you start your comment with a couple of question marks or the word question, just so that it stands out for me. Thank you. Di, yes, Wayne and I have already spoken about it. I'll be putting a link in later.
Yeah, what was said, Di, is that would probably leave it until about halfway through. Leave it till about 1:30 or something. So there's more people in, and then we'll stick that link in.
Send PM me the link, Di. Jigsy's shed is in. Di C is in. Di. Hodgepodge Woodworks is in.
Hi, Robert. There we go.
John Hayes is in from Windsor, Ontario.
Hi, John. I really hope there's holes in the chuck. Some parts of this blank are quite punky.
Question from Colin, Wood Wizardry.
Yep.
He's got an 8-inch bowl and he's put a shallow groove in the edge that he wants to fill with either mica powder or fine glitter. Would super glue work, or 2-part epoxy, or can you mix it into Milliput? Don't mix it into Milliput.
Both super glue and 2-part epoxy would work. Having never used Milliput, I can't comment on that.
Yes, Brickhouse, I'm on my own. I'm so lonely. Boy, Wayne's got to put up with me. So have you lot. Trevor Duran's in. Trevor, he's making it's a spalted beach, short form, hollow form kind of thing.
Kind of thing. Aye, something like that.
Dr. Bob's in. Hi, Dr. Bob.
Right, so I'll just get the outside shaped now. It's gone off center a wee bit there, probably because I didn't bring my tailstock up again, which I should have done. Just got it rounded off again. I'm just going to have a quick look just to see how this is cutting, to see if there's any tear out on the punky part. Now it's cutting actually not too bad.
Douglas Mungham's in.
Hi, Douglas.
Oh, I'm liking that shape, Wayne.
Thank you.
John Hayes has got a question for you.
Yeah.
Wayne, have you been practicing on making thin finials?
No. Any particular reason why?
He hasn't said yet.
He hasn't said. Okay.
Wayne doesn't need to practice on thin finials. Does them in his sleep. He's the Wood Jedi, remember?
A wee bit of tear out there, so I'll just do a bit of reshaping at that particular point.
Oh, Paul.
What?
He's asking me, he says, have I done any more practicing with funnels? I haven't seen a live yet with someone doing one. No, Paul, I haven't. You're a cheeky little monkey. Do remember I have the power to put you in a timeout. Serious question from Hodgepodge.
Yeah.
Have you ever done the staining or dyeing of spalted wood that has the spalting lines act as barriers for the colour?
Yes, I have.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. You've got to be a bit careful. So that because obviously with the black lines acting as barriers, what you don't want to do is actually get the colour transferring. If you see what I mean.
Brickhouse Craftworks question. Wayne, exactly how long have you been turning? What's your history?
Right.
It's long.
Yeah, very long. Yeah.
Sorry.
I first started teaching the Egyptians how to turn. Right, history. Okay, I started turning in 1986 when I was leaving the army. I'll just turn the speed down on the lathe. I'm going to be doing some drilling.
So that's 35 years.
Yeah, 34 years. 34 years ago. I was leaving the army in December of 1986. So in the October, I had the chance of doing what was called then a pre-release course. I'd been in the army 12 years, so I got the chance of doing a pre-release course. We just bought this place, Jane and I, and it needed a fair amount of work doing to it. So as my pre-release course, I did something called an introduction to the building trades. where we did a bit of brickying, bit of joinery work, plastering, groundworks, all this type of thing. And in the joiner's shop, they had a lathe. It was a union graduate lathe. And the first thing I ever made on a lathe was a handle for a plasterer's hawk. Because obviously I had some plastering to do. Came home and I said to Jane, I've been on a wood lathe and I absolutely love it. I think I'm going to get one. And while I was on leave, my final leave prior to leaving the army, a second-hand one came up in a town called Gatehouse of Fleet, which is about 40 minutes away, 45 minutes away from where we live. And that was an Arundel J14. After that, I bought a record-powered DML24. After that, I bought an Axminster M900. Had that for a while. I wanted to do some bigger work, and I got the chance of getting after the DML24, I bought after the Axminster M900, I bought a Pullwood 2840. I wanted to do some bigger work, so I bought a hand-built Woodturning lathe, which I had for a few years. Then I got the opportunity of buying a VB36. So I bought the VB36. I sold the Pullwood 2840. I sold the Axminster M900, and I bought this one that I'm working on at the moment, which was the Axminster 1628, and it's now the Axminster 406. So at the moment I've got, and I've had a small Axminster for demonstrating as well, but I give that away to Steve Twiddell. So at the moment I've got the Axminster 1628 and I've got my VB36.
Cool. Right, Pete from Twisted Trees is giving you a super chat.
Oh, cheers, Pete.
He says, making a watch stand, do I add some gilt cream? Depends on what the wood is, but I'd say yes. Douglas Mongham says he thinks the piece you're making looks almost onion-shaped.
Yes, it does. Now, as you can see by the drill, I didn't have the drill centered, which is why it's wobbling about. But that'll all get sorted when I clean the inside out.
Another question for you. Quite loads of questions today. This is good. Wayne, have you ever used stains or dyes from the inside of a very thin walled piece and let the colours bleed through to the outside, like Sam Angelo?
I've watched Sam do that a few times. In answer to your question, no, I haven't. It's something I wouldn't mind having a go at, but I haven't actually done it up to now. Right, that's about the depth I've got. The depth I was looking for there, turn that round. I was going for the, you can't see it. Moved in a bit. Just a wee grub screw. That was the depth I was going for.
Okay.
How's the picture, Mark?
Yeah, it's really good, actually.
Good.
We'll shut up about it now.
Yeah, okay. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Right, hang on. Just got to clean my Crocs out. I've got sawdust in my Crocs.
Somebody did ask, actually, were they steel toe cap Crocs?
No, they're not. They're just ordinary ones. The thing is, when you actually turning, right, this is turning, it's actually 370. This is turn that now. Chances are at 370, if it comes off the lathe, it's going to drop down. Up above 500, it'll start flying off, okay? depending on how fast you're going, will really depend on what angle it comes off at and where the weak point is. Which is why, okay, I do wear Crocs. When I'm doing a live, I don't tend to wear a mask because it tends to interfere with me speech and everything. But you will notice when I'm turning that I rarely stand in the firing line. And the firing line tends to be that direction. That's where the firing line is. I change cameras so you can see what I'm doing. That's bleached out a bit, isn't it?
Just a little bit.
Oh, I haven't even got any bloody main lights on. It's probably because of the sunlight coming in the door. Hang on a second. I'll see if it makes any difference. It probably won't.
We've got Rex B
Hi, Rex.
and Tom Canada have joined, and Barry's Wood Creations.
Hi, guys. That's a little better, not much. Right, I'm going to start off. Sorry, Mark, go on.
Sorry, Mark Pritchard's asked actually quite a good question. What is the most expensive piece you have ever turned and sold?
The most expensive piece I've ever turned and sold. Right, last year at one of the shops that I'm involved with, somebody actually left the arts and crafts cooperative, and there was a space in the shop which needed to be filled. So they asked me and the guy who does ceramics to bring some sort of bigger stuff in, just to fill the space up. And I thought, well, I'll take this bowl along. Jane had actually claimed the bowl. It was a Burr Elm bowl. It was, what size was it? It was 18 by 8, I think it was. Absolutely gorgeous bowl. So brought that along just for exhibition, and it sold within a day, I think it was. No, it lasted about a week. And there was actually a wood turner from Inverness who bought it, which I thought was a bit special. Earlier on this year, when because one of the shops is a seasonal shop, and obviously we're locked down, it didn't actually get opened until August. And I took some bigger pieces in. One was one of me sculptural pieces, which was on a stand, sort of a base with metal rods as the stand type thing.
Yeah.
That lasted a day. The Burr Elm piece went for about 200 quid, and the U piece this year went for 150.
Cool. Ruby Claire's in. Hi, Ruby.
Hey, Ruby.
Rex B asks, is burl wood harder to turn than normal wood?
No. I find it, to tell you the truth, in a lot of respects, I find it a lot easier to turn.
Paul Smith asks a question, Wayne, that you and I have been talking about for the last 2 days. When is Wayne getting his new lathe, and what one is he going to get?
Right. I will be getting my new lathe, Paul, when my numbers come up on the lottery. The lathe I'll probably buy more than one, but the lathe that I'll probably go for will be a robust, the big robust lathe, and I'll probably get a Vic Mark as well. But seeing as how I'm never lucky with the lottery, I can't actually see that happening anytime soon. There was a company in the States quite a few years ago now, which produced The company was called the Serious Lathe Company. You can still actually have a look at the lathe. The website's still up. I don't think the company is actually in business anymore, but the website's still up. Now, at the time, if I'd had the money at the time and could afford the import costs, I definitely would have ordered one of them.
Ian in the shed's in.
Hi, Ian.
He's dreaming, Ian. This is a lottery win time. Wish lists.
Oh, definitely dreaming.
I only said to everybody that we've been talking about it for the last couple of days because I'm considering investing in a better lathe. So I've been picking people's brains, especially Wayne's.
For some reason, that's not cutting. All right, let's try something different.
Hey, there's a nice offer for you there, Wayne.
What's that?
If from Pete from Twisted Trees, he says, if I get a lottery jackpot, I'll buy you the Robust in exchange for 2 3/4 hours training.
All right, okay.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Or was that 275 hours of training? Paul, who's that question aimed at, me or Wayne?
See how we're doing? Oh, loads to go yet.
Everybody knows me so well. They're all going, Mark, we thought you were getting a Stratos. Yeah, well.
Yeah, well.
Well, yeah, sort of, maybe, well. Wayne and I live at different ends of the country, and he's not been able to slap me around the head much, but he's working on it. Yeah, I'd like a Stratos, but practicalities of cost. Okay, so it's aimed at Wayne. Paul says then to you, Wayne, what real advantage would you find for yourself by changing from what you already have in regards to the lathe?
In regards to the lathe, advantage, hang on, wait, let's switch this off because I'm just tightening this tool up a wee bit. Stability would be the main advantage. The Robust is a very big lathe with the bed castings and everything are a hell of a lot thicker than this. I think the legs, castings on the legs are thicker than this. But that would be the main thing. Capacity wise, wouldn't really concern me because, like I said, I've already got the VB.
Yeah, right, Pete. Pete said buy fuel like this one. Pete says I should buy you a robust, and then you can give me your 1628. I don't think that works really well. If I'm going to buy the robust, I think I keep the robust. I would do that, Pete, but only if Wayne would sign his lathe, so I could have his autograph.
See how we're doing on the wall thickness up at the top here. Yeah, not that bad. To tell you the truth, I think I could have gone a bit deeper with the drill, so I'll do that.
Leroy's asking, is that the Simon Hope hollowing tool?
Yes, it is, Leroy. It is, yeah. Turn the speed down again. Again, I'm turning at about 370 there.
Douglas has asked, Wayne, is the laser hollowing system a good bit of kit?
Yes, it is, but if you can actually afford it, you're actually better off going for the camera. Using the camera one, you would have to go to Simon Hope and watch the videos to see what I'm talking about. With the laser one, let's put with the laser one, with the tool inside, the laser comes down and it actually sits right next to the tool head, if you see what I mean. Obviously the tool head's on the inside of the bowl, but if you're doing the side here, that's fine because it's sitting right next to it. If you're doing around the top here, you've actually got to alter the laser so it actually sits next to the tool head in that position. So as you're actually going round, sometimes you've got to keep on altering the laser so it points at sort of 90 degrees to where the tool head is. Using the camera system and the small monitor, you don't actually have to do that, because what you do is you draw a circle around the cutter head, and then you draw another line, which is the thickness of your of the wall that you're wanting. So as you're looking at the monitor and using the tool, it actually shows on the monitor how far you're getting down, and it does it in all positions. It just doesn't do it at a 90-degree to the cutter head like it does with the laser. Did I explain that okay?
Yes, perfectly. John Hayes has asked, with that small hole in the piece there, Wayne,
Yeah.
how can you tell how much wood to take away without seeing inside?
So far down, I can use my fingers. After that, if I was really that concerned, if this was going to be a competition piece, rather than a piece that I'm basically showing you the different types of tools and techniques I use, I would start using calipers. You can get double-ended calipers, which will actually show as you're coming together, sort of inside and outside on
They're
a
the
piece.
figure of 8 ones, aren't they?
Yeah, the figure of 8 ones. It actually shows you at the other end of the figure 8 how thick you're really going, and you can get digital ones like that as well.
Nick the Flaming Turner's in.
Hi, Nick.
Mark P's got to go. He's had to go to work. And somebody else. Lovins to turn. Hey, guys. Paul says, you do realise that as JP isn't here, this isn't a practice piece.
Oh, it is. All my live pieces tend to be practice pieces. We were talking about this last night in a chat, and I can't remember if it was Mark or somebody else was saying, do you sell all the stuff that you do on lives? I've got, the big plastic storage boxes. I've got about 12 of them full of stuff that I've done in lives.
I think that was Huey that asked you that one last night. I was asking you all sorts of other stuff.
And I was drunk again, so I can't remember anything that was being asked. Turn the speed up again. About 1100 we're going at there. Just a wee bit on the low side there.
For anybody looking, I've put that link in the chat for Di's poll about what he should turn live. I'll put it in again. Greg Alexander's in. Paul's asking me what's so special about these milk paints then. You have to watch me live tonight and find out, won't you?
Right, go back to the other following tool, just clean out a bit more down the bottom there.
the other link that Di sent me.
Right.
Nick, you missed me out. No, I'm the one that read your name out. That's a good question from Benjamin.
Yeah.
When you're doing competition pieces, do the judges feel in the inside of hollow forms with
Yes.
small openings?
Yeah, they do. They do. I think I can go back to the swan neck. I don't usually use the swan neck as much, but obviously with something that's got a small opening, it does tend to work quite well. And whenever you are using a swan neck, I'll change the camera again in a minute. Whenever you're using a swan neck, always try and get a swan neck so the tool head is in line with the straight shaft. And you always have the straight shaft resting on the tool rest. You don't have the swan neck resting on the tool rest. You have the straight part of the shaft.
Pete says competition judges are always putting fingers in small openings.
Yeah. Competition judges will look at either tenons or mortises on the bottom of bowls. I certainly got marked down in one competition for leaving the mortise in place.
Richard RJK says, do they mark you down if they get their fingers stuck?
The piece that I put in was this was a couple of few years ago. This was at our Woodturning club in November. Usually in November, we have an open day at the Woodturning club where we invite. I'm a member of Borders Woodturning Club. We invite the Cumbrian Woodturners Club. I think the Weardale one, Northumbria Turners. There's usually 3 or 4, 4 guest clubs we invite along, and we have an inter-club competition. And it's they actually get a judge from the AWGB to come and judge the pieces. And it was one of my water drop bowls that was being judged, and the judge said, "It's absolutely fantastic bowl." He says, "I've got no idea how you did it." He says, "And the only thing it's been marked down for is because you left the mortise in there." He was another one that actually thought the water drop bowl was a vinyl wrap. Yeah, I'm happy with that for what we're doing today. So I'll get this sanded up.
Ian says he thought the swan neck tools were for spindle work only.
Spindle work?
Oh. Maybe, does he mean end grain?
No, well, this is end grain. No, the swan neck tool, whenever anybody mentions hollowing tools, they always tend to talk about swan neck hollowing tools. Now, I've used it a fair bit on this. 9 times out of 10, I only use a swan neck hollowing tool for doing around the shoulder here. 9 times out of 10. I will usually, for hollowing, either use, and you've seen me do this in the past, I'll use my spindle gouge, and then I'll probably use a straight hollower. You don't, for 90%, for 90% of the work, you only need the swan neck for around the shoulder. All the rest of the hollow, depending on the size of the hole you're using, can actually be done using a straight hollower, a straight carbide, whatever it is you want to use. I'm not going to sand inside, especially with the hole that size, because I like my fingers actually on my hand.
Yeah, it's good to keep them there.
They tend to fit quite nicely on my hand.
Yep. Makes wearing gloves difficult if you haven't got them.
I love the German for gloves.
Go on then.
Handshoe.
Handshoe.
Yeah, that's what they're called, handshoes. Let's see. I'll go on the overhead again. Can you see that? Handshoe. There you go.
That's great. Bit of a follow-up question for you, Wayne.
Yeah.
Do you think it's right to mark down for leaving the mortise in?
Well, it's a competition. Okay. Now, the thing that annoyed me is, excuse me, just have a quick slurp. That's better. The thing that annoyed me is that we didn't get to see any of the criteria for the judging. If we'd seen the criteria for the judging, I wouldn't have left the mortise on there. Was it wrong to mark me down? Yes. Yes, it was. Because it was competition, and within competitions, they obviously expect the best.
Another question from Douglas.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about getting involved with developing a sanding tool for the inside of hollow forms?
No. People tend to do their own. Paul uses a piece of dowel, I believe, with
forceps.
Oh, forceps. Sorry, yeah. Paul uses forceps, medical forceps, long reach ones. People have used pieces of dowel which have got a split in the top that you jam the adhesive into. People have developed all their own ways. Even Simon Hope, he's got the inertia sander for doing bowls.
Yeah, the long bar.
Yeah, you can use that. He's developed a long bar for putting the inertia sander on with the really small sanding discs.
Well, Terry asked a good question. Do you ever do any judging, Wayne?
No, I don't. No, I am not. I am a member, just a member of the AWJB. I'm not a professional turner. It tends to be professional turners that do the judging and that. So no, I don't or haven't been involved in anything like that. Right, what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to quickly put in a mark where I'm going to part it off, just so I can get that sanded properly.
You're doing fine for time, by the way, mate.
Grand.
$71 in.
I'll just sand that a wee bit. There we go. Put some sand and sealer on there. Once I put
Chris
my hand.
Cox has just joined.
Hey, Chris.
Nick's got a question.
Yeah.
Would they still mark you down if you said it was part of the piece and not just a mounting point?
Yes, they'd still mark you down. What they tend to want to see in competition pieces, Nick, is basically the flat. Well, not necessarily a flat bottom, but they don't want to see anything on there to do with any sort of chuck holding.
Keith's just joined. Hi, Keith.
Hi, Keith. Go to sand and sealer. I'll just wipe off the excess. Doesn't take acrylic sand and sealer or cellulose sand and sealer very long to dry. I think in that particular competition, Northumbrian Woodturners won it that year. We came second. Mind you, the Northumbrian Woodturners, they had some absolutely brilliant pieces in, and one of Helen Bailey's Pierce pieces was in there as well.
Steve Ash is asking,
Yeah.
on a piece like you're turning now, is it safe to use the mouth, if wide enough, to reverse mount to remove the chucking point?
Yes, it is. As long as you've got a chuck of the right size. What you could even do, Steve, you could actually fit a scrap piece of wood into the lathe and turn a cone onto it, and then put the opening onto the cone, bring the tailstock up to clean off the bottom. Because with this, if I part this off, in fact, I will part it off and show you. Oh, turn the speed down. Because the wood is spalted, and because I'm parting off end grain, I'll do that, and I'll show you the mess that it actually makes of the bottom.
Paul Lockwood says, so I'm guessing, well, it's a question, so I'm guessing that rather than turn off a full mortise, if you get rid of the corners to make it impossible to mount on a chuck, would that work?
Well, yeah, but the thing is that if you're going to do that, you might as well give the bowl a flat bottom.
Yeah. It's only a couple of extra passes, isn't it?
Yeah. Speed up a bit.
Rexby asked, do you have any pictures of the competition pieces?
Have I got one in here? Have you seen my water drop bowl, Rex? The water drop bowls that I do.
Have a look on Wayne's Facebook page, because he's got water drop bowls on there, haven't you, mate?
I've got one here. Bit dusty, should still be able to see. There you go. That's like one of the pieces I did.
That's still awesome. It doesn't look like it should be. I mean, I've sat and watched you make them, but it's still, it looks like a piece of vinyl, doesn't it?
It does.
Like a vinyl sticker. Hodgepodge, have you ever made a donut chuck? And do you find it useful if you don't have a vacuum system?
Donut chucks are very, very useful. No, I haven't made one. I've seen loads of people using them. And if you don't think you've got the skill to actually make one and you're in the States, you can actually buy them. And I'm forgetting the guy's name who sells them.
Benjamin asks.
The thing is, if you were doing, let's say you're going to do a burr bowl, whether burr elm, burr oak, whatever, chances are a vacuum chuck wouldn't work because of all the voids, and you'd just be drawing air out of the piece. One, Mark?
Sorry. Benjamin asks, in regards to the vase base, do you leave it much thicker at the bottom so it's less tippy?
I do tend to, yes. Oh, I've already
Ruby Claire says Ron Brown is the guy who makes and
that's
sells.
It. That's who does the. He does loads of different accessories. Ron Brown does. I believe he even does he made a fluting jig as well.
Ben goes on to ask, with regard to the bottom being thicker, would you get marked down for that?
Possibly. If it was a competition piece, you possibly would. The guys who are the real experts at doing hollow forms, if you look at the likes of Pat Carroll's work, some of the tall vase type hollow forms that he does, he has probably got the wall thickness the same throughout the vessel.
Andy Phillips, another good one for hollow forms, isn't he?
Yeah, Andy does a lot of nice ones as well. I mean, if you have a look at some of Pat Carroll's stuff, certainly some of the stuff that he pierces and then pyros, which I think he spends about 70 hours on each piece. I think that one of the pieces he showed when he was doing a demo for Woodturning 360, I think he was saying that had about 70 hours work in it. And the majority of that was basically done pyroing. Right, so that's I just used Hampshire Sheen finishing gloss, lacquer, wax.
Gunk.
We'll get this parted off and then I can show you what the bottom looks like.
Leroy 500 asks, when entering competition, do you normally know what the judging criteria is?
Yes, usually you do. Just open that up, give me a bit more space. Right, I'll just take the nub off with my skew chisel. Right, can you see all of the tear out on that?
Yep.
So that's what happens when you're parting off. Obviously, this is particularly spalted. What I could have done, like I said, is actually just taking the piece out of the chuck mounted a scrap piece of wood into the chuck and turned a cone, then fitted that back on. In fact, what I could do,
I've just popped the link in, Wayne, for my live tonight, if that's okay.
yeah. I'll bring that up like that.
Eight o'clock, Ruby, UK time. About 4 o'clock for you where you are, I think. Bonjour, oui, Barry. Baz is in.
Must be on his lunch break. That's running not too bad there.
What was close? 3 o'clock, where Ruby is.
Right, take that out. Put in my detailer on my spindle gouge, and then I can just get this bottom cleaned up.
Not too bad, thanks, Baz.
Now it's still got a little bit of tear out there, but it's got a hell of a lot better finish. And now I just need to get a light sanding over that to get it finished off properly. And there we have it.
Awesome.
Bring the stool back in.
No, Baz, he didn't use Drilly today.
Nah. Drilly's having a couple of weeks off. Come on, camera, work. That's it. So, there you are. Just a small hollow form out of Spalted Beach. What I might do, what time were you on?
104.
We've done an hour. We'll leave it at that. I may well tomorrow make a spindle for it. A finial for it, just to see how it looks. But that's it.
Benjamin says, it's nuts that you've made that in 1 hour. Almost annoying, really. God damn it.
Sorry.
And we have to slow Wayne down. You don't realise that. Wayne always gets a pep talk before his lives. Remember, don't go fast.
Yeah, well, that's why I like the questions, because it actually stops me. It stops me and makes me think. Thinking's not good for a person at my age. Right, guys, I'm going to call it there. Thanks very much for coming along. Mark has put his link in for tonight. I'll be in there, earworming. Who else is coming in?
Pete and Steve.
Pete Twisted Trees and Steve SK Crafts are also going to be in earworming as well. That's 8 o'clock GMT.
Or as Pete says, 8 o'clock GMT, 3 o'clock Ruby time, and 1982 Cornish time.
Yeah,
right.
Robert's saying that Wayne spent like 15 minutes talking about his history. Grand. Okay, guys. What's happening tomorrow?
Keith.
Keith at lunchtime.
Yep.
Circular Wood
Beard.
Bike at lunchtime. Rich the Beard is on at 8 o'clock tomorrow night, and Martin's on as well. I think Martin's show is starting about, that's Martin Sabin Smith. Martin's show is starting about 7 o'clock, getting people in, and then he'll be going live around about 7:30, I think. But like I say, Rich is on as well. Wednesday, not sure. Is Nick still in? Nick, have you started doing a live on the Wednesday lunchtime now? If you're still in. He certainly did a live last Wednesday lunchtime. So Nick the Flaming Turner might be doing a live. I'm not too sure on that one at the moment. I'll be back on Wednesday night. Thursday lunchtime, not too sure.
Steve did say he might be able to do one this week.
All right, okay. It's sometimes difficult with Steve.
Yeah, Nick's doing one on Wednesday.
Nick's saying he's back to normal now, so Nick will be on at on Wednesday lunchtime. Steve may well be on Thursday lunchtime. Now I might be on Thursday night.
Yeah, you're standing in for Scott, aren't you?
Scott can't do Thursday night this week because of his shifts. In which case, I may well be starting. I'm not promising yet, but I'll make a decision by Wednesday and let you know. But I may well be standing in on Thursday night for Scott. Friday lunchtime. Well, what do you know? It's me again. Friday evening.
Terry's saying that he might be doing a pre-URL invade Thursday with Rich.
Nice one. I forget what I was going to say there. Friday evening. Ruben usually has a premiere at 7 o'clock. Nick usually has a premiere at 7:30. Steve SK Crafts will be going live at 7:45, and Stace, Nick's better half. He's not like us for saying that. But Stace is on live at 8 o'clock. Saturday it'll be Ed. Saturday evening, Andy H Bespoke will be going live about 7:30. Then Nick will be live at 8 o'clock.
And Emma Tiny Turner as well, I think, this week.
I don't know if she is, because she said she was going back to once a fortnight, and she did last week.
But I've seen a link for her channel.
Have you?
Yeah, she's already put one up. Sure she has.
Right. I thought that was for last Saturday.
No, I think she's got another one.
Anyway, that's by the by. Sunday. Steve SK lunchtime. I don't think there's anybody in the afternoon. I think Hodgepodge has a premiere on a Sunday evening, I think. Oh, Robert's saying that Emma didn't finish what she was doing.
Yeah, she's got one scheduled live in 5 days.
Right, fine, grand, okay. Sunday evening, not sure. But we have got the Makers International podcast to help us 9 on a Sunday. JP Woodworks does a premiere at 11 o'clock on a Sunday night, and Caitlin the Cat does a premiere at about 11:15.
Cool.
And then we're back to Monday again. Right, that's it. I said I was leaving 5 minutes ago, so I better do it. I'm going to push the bloody button, and I will see you all the next time. Take care.
Bye, everyone.